Buying a home in the UK was one of my biggest achievements. First of all, it gave me stability, it gave me a sense of belonging, and it also gave me peace of mind because I didn't have to worry about moving from house to house. And yeah, I had unpleasant experiences with landlords in the past before I bought my home. So when I bought it, I got rid of that problem. And also, one thing that pleases me as well is the fact that the value of my home has increased since I bought it. So what that means is I've got a bit of extra money in my pocket should I decide to sell it. Even if I don't sell it, I can always leave it to my kids. That will be their inheritance. And also, having a mortgage has helped boost my credit score. And also, another thing as well that really pleases me about my mortgage is the fact that I will finish paying it off before I reach 60. So at least I can tick that box before, I retire. So yeah, I'm quite pleased about that. However, at the moment, my mortgage is bleeding me dry. It is really doing a number on my bank account because there have been some surprises along the way. Some things I expected them, but some other things were a complete shock, especially in the current climate. So if you're considering buying a home, then this video will open your eyes. I mean, don't get me wrong, buying a home is a good thing. I mean, I've just told you the advantages, so it is great. However, if you're an immigrant, there are extra things, extra factors that you need to take into consideration depending on your circumstances, depending on your future plans. These are the realities that you definitely face. So let us talk about these realities. What are they? And by the way, these things that I'm going to cover in this video are things that I have experienced. I speak from experience. Now, the first reality or one thing that you discover is the fact that not all mortgages are created equal, especially as an immigrant. Some mortgage lenders will see you as a risk. When I got my mortgage, I was still new to the UK and I didn't fully grasp how things worked. I didn't know anything about interest rates and all that. So, what I discovered was that even with a good credit score, I still ended up with a higher interest rate. And it was because I had not built an extensive credit history because I had not been in the UK system that long. So I was considered high risk still because also at the time I was on a different type of visa. I mean, at the moment, I have my citizenship. And when I got my mortgage, I didn't even have indefinite leave to remain. I was on a different type of visa. So I was in that risk category. That's why I say not all mortgages are created equal. So that is the first reality. The second reality is to do with fixed versus variable rate. A fixed rate means just that. It means your mortgage repayments stay the same at the end of every month. This gives you predictable amounts, which can be a bit of an advantage. You know exactly how much you're paying every month, which is good if you've got a good rate and it is fixed at that. A variable rate means it is variable, it changes, and it is unpredictable. And sometimes the changes can be quite drastic. Now, when I got my mortgage, I opted for the variable rate, the one that changes. And for a long time, I was quite comfortable with it. Things worked really well. I could pay my mortgage, pay my other bills, and have a bit of extra to set aside. So I was really happy. And then when the economy crashed, when the cost of living kicked off, everything changed. My monthly payments started climbing. The first time I noticed it, I thought, okay, it is just a little change. It's fine. Let me leave it at that. Then the following month, I looked again. It had jumped even further. I was like, what is going on here? At the time, I was still hopeful. I thought, okay, I thought surely it can't climb any further than this. Let me wait and see. And this is my biggest regret. This is the biggest mistake I made by waiting. After that second time, I noticed the climb because when the third month came, yeah, the jump was so huge, it just caught me off guard. So I quickly called the mortgage lender and we had the rate fixed. Unfortunately, by then, the damage was done. Yes, so now it is fixed at a certain rate, and I'm paying this huge amount at the end of every month, an amount which is nearly half of my take home. I mean, yeah, it is real. It is real. It's not exactly half, but it's not way off. It's not way off. So you can imagine after paying all my bills with everything going up, because mind you, it is not just the mortgage. I have a whole list of other bills to pay, bills that have since gone up. So at the moment, my mortgage is a serious strain. It is a huge headache for me. Yes, I'm managing, but it is really leaving a huge dent. So I'm having to really like look after the pennies, like really be brutal with my spending. And I have been considering my options because I'm starting to think about when that fixed term ends, what I'm going to do, what options I have. And someone suggested remortgaging, and I've been looking into that. And what I've discovered is that remortgaging is not as straightforward as that. I still got a lot to learn about it. I mean, I've watched a few videos, I've read material on remortgaging, and what I've realized is that there are some risks involved, there are fees as well. So I really need to weigh my options and decide exactly what I'm going to do. Because, like I said, there's still a lot that I need to learn when it comes to that. But one thing is certain, there are risks involved. It's not as clear cut as it sounds. It's not. So if you're an immigrant and depending on what your circumstances are, what your future plans are, when it comes to buying a home in the UK, you really need to consider some of these implications that I'm, highlighting in this video. The fact that the interest, if you choose that variable rate, the interest can go up. And if you've got a certain budget, just remember that that could go haywire quite quickly. The interest rates can throw you off at any minute. The next thing I want to talk about is regarding upgrades, renovations, and all that. Now, I've just had my garden done, and you won't believe how much I paid for the garden. I mean, yeah, it is crazy. It is ridiculous because I still got a lot to do, but I've decided that I'm going to do the rest myself. I mean, it's a bit of exercise. I need the fresh air anyway. And also, the weather is getting nicer as well. I mean, I avoided some of my upgrades for as long as I could. But as someone who owns the home, you want to have pride in your home. And even if you want to ignore some things anyway, there comes a point where you can't afford to ignore because you don't want things to get to a state where they start breaking down. Because what usually happens is when one thing breaks down, another thing breaks down, and then another thing breaks down. Of course, I have home insurance, but home insurance has conditions as well. You can't just decide, okay, my kitchen needs renovating, it needs an upgrade, so I'm going to call up my home insurance. That's not what the home insurance is for. The home insurance is for emergencies. At least mine is for that. So when it comes to, doing up your kitchen, changing the cupboards, because after a decade, I mean, let's go a thing, even 5 years, things start going a bit pear-shaped. They don't look so nice. So you need to do an upgrade. And how much does it cost to replace your kitchen? I mean, just think about that. For someone who's paying nearly 50% of their take home, how long is that going to take me to save up for that money? Where is that money going to come from? So these are things to take into consideration when you're buying a home. Buying a home is just the beginning. That house needs to be maintained. And if you bought an old building, for example, some of these old houses, then yeah, those houses will need to be renovated at some point. So all those are repairs that you didn't budget for. So this is something to consider. And also, if you're planning to go back home sometime soon, and you're also thinking about buying a home in the UK, then you want to take a moment to really think about this situation. Do you have another home in the UK? I mean, in Zimbabwe, if you come from Zimbabwe, in Nigeria, in Kenya, India, wherever you come from, your homeland, do you have another home there that also needs to be maintained? Maybe you've got people looking after your home, people who need to be paid. Maybe, even if you don't have people who need to be paid, maybe it's your brother, your relative looking after that home. Still, you need to maintain that home. And that means money as well. And if you have a second home in the UK, are you going to manage, that dual home ownership? It is great. I mean, it is like the perfect scenario, but you also want to look at your circumstances, how realistic that is going to be for you, how manageable it is going to be. I mean, Our circumstances are different. That's why I said in the beginning, it all depends on your circumstances and on your future plans as well. And also, to end this video, I'll say this. When it comes to getting a mortgage in the UK, there are a few key things that you need to be considering if it is your intention to get on the property ladder. First of all, your income. Do you have stable, steady income, and how much are you earning? Because for you to get a mortgage, it all depends, what type of mortgage you're getting, what type of house, how much does it cost, and how much will you be required in form of repayments at the end of the month. Can you realistically afford that amount every month and also manage to pay your other bills? And also your visa status matters as well. Your visa status matters because the mortgage lender just want to see that you've got residency. And also, I would suggest that if you're planning to get on the property ladder, then it is wise to plan for it, because there will be some costs. Just set money aside, because buying a mortgage or getting a mortgage is just the beginning. It's just the first step, because you can get a mortgage and not actually afford it. I actually did a video about this, saying that when I got my mortgage, yes, I was approved, but I couldn't actually afford the mortgage. I would advise you to watch that video so that you can see what I meant. And also, what I would suggest is start working on your credit score now. Fix it early so that when you go to apply for the mortgage, you get a good interest rate. Get help from the relevant people. Seek help from mortgage brokers who actually know what they're doing. Don't watch videos online. Get professionals. I know there are professionals who make videos online, but when they make those videos, they are generalizing things. They are not looking at your circumstances as such, because we all have different circumstances. Lastly, this is what I'll say. Owning a home, whether in the UK, in Zimbabwe, or anywhere else, owning a home is a huge achievement. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It is huge, but understanding the full picture is key. Anyway, this is what I had for you in this video. As always, I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.